And away from that, South Africa, through the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition, is hosting the Africa Energy Sector Inward Buying and Investment Mission from July 16 to 19 in Cape Town. The gathering will see delegates from the African continent putting their heads together in dealing with energy security and foster investment. The event will also help cultivate business partnerships, expand market access, promote value-added exports, and showcase South Africa. To talk more about the benefits it has brought so far for the African continent and its citizens, and also how this initiative can be sustained without Western participation, we are joined by CEO of the South African Electrotechnical Exports Council, Chiboni Evans. Chiboni Evans, thank you so much for joining us to talk about this and to help us understand this further.
Thank you very much for having me.
So what is the purpose of hosting this inward buying and investment mission in South Africa? What is the scope of the event also, and what industries or sectors will be focused on?
Okay, so the South African Electrotechnical Export Council is a public-private partnership between the South African Department of Trade, Industry and Competition and the private sector in the electrotechnical space, which covers electrical engineering, which is where our energy and renewable energy project companies reside, electronics, ICT, and digital technology. So this event that we are hosting from the 15th to the 19th of July is an inward buying and investment mission, which key objective is to bring in energy sector experts, buyers, investors, policymakers, project owners, to South Africa, and to sit around the table with South Africans and look at what projects are residing on the African continent that we can work together to execute and implement and make sure that we can build the required energy infrastructure that Africa needs. Obviously, South Africa does this because we do host a large asset base, both renewable and fossil fuel. So we want to share our experiences with the African continent and see how we can work together to build the infrastructure.
Okay, so I'd like you to help us understand Africa's energy capacity. How vast is it? What is the potential like? What kind of investments will be needed to accelerate or to scale up the operations within that space? And how much more can Africa benefit from these discussions and negotiations that will be coming up?
So South Africa itself, as you may be aware, is the second largest producer or generator of energy on the African continent, second to Egypt. We generate just under 50,000 megawatts of power, whereas Egypt generates over 50,000 megawatts of power. We are also one of the largest producers of renewable energy assets on the continent, with 6,500 megawatts in renewable energy assets that we've deployed around the country through our Renewable Energy Independent Power Producer Program. We have a further 5,500 megawatts, which are private owners and companies that have installed rooftop solar. So we've got quite a large base of energy assets that we work from. I know we have had challenges in terms of the sort of load shedding issues that we've had in the country, which we believe we're now beginning to overcome. But again, even things like that are some of the learnings that we're trying to share with the rest of the continent. So from the African context itself, as I said, I've explained to you who the two largest producers of power are on the continent. But we know that we're sitting as a continent with a huge energy deficit. In that we need to make sure that we get electricity to over 600 million Africans are sitting without access to electricity, and our target under SDG 7 is to get them all electricity by 2030. And we know that through the African Union Agenda 2063, we're trying to industrialize the continent very rapidly, and for industrialization, we need energy. So one of the things that we need to do is to see how do we make sure that we've got that base load of energy that we need to industrialize the different countries within the African continent. And whilst we industrialize, we manufacture, and therefore we can then trade with each other as we would like to do under the African Continental Free Trade Agreement.
I believe that a lot of people will be anticipating these big events that will be coming up. Chiboni Evans, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us.